Your bank account isn't leaking. It's being slowly pickpocketed by habits. Stick with me. Some of these will hit way too close to home. Join our Telegram for smarter tips and even crazier money mistakes. Link below. 1. The just a coffee lie. You ever notice how the most expensive things in life never feel expensive? Like nobody wakes up and says, you know what? Today I'll waste $1,200 this year. No, it's always disguised as something innocent. A coffee. Just a quick one. $5. Maybe 7 if you're feeling emotionally unstable and need oat milk. Now multiply that by every weekday. Suddenly, your harmless little ritual costs more than your electricity bill. And the worst part? You don't even remember buying most of them. They just disappear into your bloodstream and your bank statement like witnesses in a crime movie. And here's where it gets sneaky. It's not about the coffee. It's about the permission. Once your brain accepts, it's just $5, congratulations. You've unlocked unlimited bad decisions. Snack here, app subscription there, random treat-yourself moment, because Tuesday felt aggressive. Before you know it, your money isn't being spent. It's being slowly evaporated. You didn't lose control. You just gave it away in small, socially acceptable installments. 2. Subscriptions. You forgot exist, but still pay like loyal employees. There's a special kind of business model that relies on one thing. You being slightly lazy, not stupid, not reckless, just busy enough to forget. You sign up for a free trial. It's always free. Always feels like a win. Cancel anytime, they say, which is corporate language for, we know you won't. Fast forward 3 months. You're now financially supporting a meditation app you opened once, a streaming service you forgot the password to, and a fitness platform that sends you motivational emails while you sit on the couch eating chips. It's like adopting digital pets that never die. They just keep billing you. And the real genius? The charges are small. $4.99, $9.99. Nothing dramatic, nothing that triggers panic, just enough to quietly stack up like unpaid emotional baggage. Companies aren't trying to impress you anymore. They're trying to outlast your attention span. And they usually win, because canceling feels like effort, and effort is expensive, apparently more expensive than just bleeding money every month. 3. The upgrade. That downgrades your wallet. Modern life runs on upgrades. Faster phone, better plan, premium version, gold tier, platinum elite whatever. And somehow, every upgrade sounds responsible, logical even. It's only $10 more, but you get so much value. That phrase alone has drained more bank accounts than bad investments ever did. Because here's the truth. You're not paying for value. You're paying for the feeling of not missing out. You didn't need the unlimited data. You just didn't like the idea of limits. You didn't need premium shipping. You just didn't want to wait like a peasant from 2003. So you upgrade. And then you upgrade again. And suddenly your monthly expenses look like you're running a small tech startup instead of just trying to watch Netflix and answer emails. The trap is psychological. Nobody forces you. It feels like your choice. But it's not really a choice. It's a quiet escalation, one small upgrade at a time, until your budget looks like it accidentally subscribed to a luxury lifestyle. And if you think this is bad, we've barely scratched the surface. 4. The free shipping illusion. You ever go online to buy one simple thing and somehow end up spending 3 times more? Yeah, that's not an accident. That's strategy. You add something to your cart for $18. Then the website gently whispers, you're $7 away from free shipping. And suddenly, you're not a customer anymore. You're on a mission, a completely irrational quest to save $5 by spending $25. So you start browsing like you're in a digital supermarket at 2 a.m. Do I need socks? Maybe. A phone stand? Sure. This weird kitchen gadget? Absolutely. I'm basically a chef now. 10 minutes later, your cart looks like a survival kit for a lifestyle you don't even live. And the funniest part? You feel like you won. You didn't. You just got upsold by a progress bar. Companies figured out that people hate paying for shipping more than they hate wasting money. So they flipped the game. Now you overspend voluntarily just to avoid a small fee. You didn't beat the system. The system politely convinced you to spend more. And thank it for the opportunity. 5. Buying cheap and paying twice. There's a moment we've all had. You see two options, one solid, reliable product and one suspiciously cheap version that feels like a deal from another dimension. And your brain goes, why would I pay more? It's basically the same thing. It's never the same thing. That cheap version has a hidden talent. It breaks at the worst possible time. Shoes fall apart in the rain. Chargers die mid-flight. Kitchen tools snap the second you actually need them. So what do? You buy it again. Or worse, you finally buy the good one after wasting money on the bad one. Now you've paid double. For the same result you could have had once. It's like paying for a lesson nobody asked for. And brands know this. There's a whole economy built on products that are just good enough to sell, but not good enough to last. Because if everything worked perfectly the first time, you'd stop coming back. So that smart saving decision? It wasn't saving. It was just a delayed expense, with extra frustration included for free. 6. The I deserve this purchase. This one is dangerous because it feels justified. Bad day? You deserve it. Long week? You deserve it. Slight inconvenience like your Wi-Fi being slow for 3 seconds? Obviously, you deserve something expensive. And look, treating yourself isn't the problem. The problem is when your brain starts using rewards like a vending machine for emotions. You're not buying things anymore. You're buying relief. A little dopamine hit wrapped in a package that arrives in 2 days. And here's the catch. The feeling expires fast. Way faster than the charge on your bank account. That new gadget? Exciting for 48 hours? That impulse purchase? Forgotten by next week. But the money? Gone permanently, like it joined a witness protection program. And over time, this becomes a pattern. Stress to spend to temporary relief to repeat. It's not self-care. It's emotional budgeting with no limits. And the companies? Oh, they love this version of you. The tired, stressed, I deserve it version is their favorite customer. Because you're not thinking logically. You're shopping therapeutically. And therapy apparently comes with interest. 7. Convenience fees that punish laziness. Modern life has turned convenience into a luxury product. Too tired to cook? Delivery fee. Don't want to walk? Ride fee? Don't want to wait? Priority fee. Don't want to think? Subscription fee. At some point, you realize you're paying extra just to avoid being mildly uncomfortable for 10 minutes. And it adds up fast. That $3 delivery fee doesn't feel like much. But do it a few times a week, and suddenly you're spending hundreds just to avoid putting on shoes and leaving the house. It's like paying rent to your own laziness. And here's the clever part. These services don't feel expensive individually. They feel like tiny upgrades to your life, little conveniences, small wins. But stacked together, they quietly transform your budget into something unrecognizable. You're not overspending in one big dramatic moment. You're leaking money through 1,000 tiny shortcuts. Because comfort is addictive. And once you get used to paying for ease, doing things the hard way starts to feel illegal. 8. The it's only X dollars trap. This is the final boss of bad financial habits. It's only $10. It's just $20. It's not that much. Individually, it's true. None of these purchases are life-changing. They're small, harmless, almost invisible. But your bank account doesn't see them individually. It sees the total. $10 here, $20 there, random expenses that feel too small to matter, until they quietly pile up into something that absolutely does. And the real trick? Your brain never adds them together. You evaluate each purchase like it exists in isolation, like it's the only decision you'll make all day. But it's not. It's part of a pattern, a loop, a constant stream of small decisions that collectively shape your financial reality. It's like eating one cookie and saying, "This won't affect anything." True. But 200 cookies later, now we're having a different conversation. Money works the same way. You don't go broke from one big mistake. You go broke from 1,000 it's-only moments. That never felt dangerous at the time. 9. The buy now, think never button. There was a time when buying something required effort. You had to get up, go to a store, maybe talk to a human being. That friction? It protected your wallet. Now, you're one tap away from financial regret. Buy now is the most dangerous button ever invented. Not because it's evil, Because it's easy. Too easy. No pause, no thinking. Just a quick hit of, yeah, why not? And it's done. You're lying in bed, half awake, scrolling through something you didn't plan to see. And suddenly you've bought a gadget that solves a problem you didn't have 5 minutes ago. And it feels good. For about 12 seconds. Then comes the delayed realization. Not instant regret. No, that would be helpful. It's more subtle, like a quiet voice later saying, "Why did you buy that?" But by then, it's already shipped. Companies removed every obstacle between you and spending money. No checkout friction, saved cards, one-click purchases, even autofill so you don't have to confront your own decisions. You're not shopping anymore, you're reacting, and your bank account is basically just collateral damage. 10. The lifestyle inflation sneak attack. You get a raise, finally. Feels good, right? Like progress, like you're leveling up in life. And then, nothing changes. Actually, that's not true. Everything changes, just quietly. You start ordering slightly better food, upgrading small things, choosing convenience more often. Nothing crazy, nothing dramatic, just subtle improvements. But here's the trap. Your expenses rise to match your income, almost perfectly. So, even though you're earning more, you don't feel richer, because you're not keeping the difference. It's like your lifestyle is a sponge. The moment you pour more money into it, it just absorbs everything and asks for more. You switch from, "Do I need this?" to, "Well, I can afford it now." And that one sentence has probably destroyed more savings than bad investments ever did. Because now you're not just spending, you're adjusting your baseline. And once your baseline goes up, it almost never comes back down. You didn't get richer, you just upgraded your expenses to match your paycheck like it's some kind of competition. 11. Sales that make you spend more, not less. 50% off. That sign has hypnotized more people than any marketing campaign in history. You walk into a store for one thing and then walk out with 5 because technically you saved money. No, you didn't. You spent money faster. Sales create urgency, pressure, that feeling like you're missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, even though the same limited-time offer has been running since 2008. And your brain? It loves a deal. It feels smart, strategic, like you're beating the system. But here's the reality. If you didn't need it before the sale, you still don't need it now. The discount didn't create value. It created justification. And suddenly, buying things you never planned becomes a good decision. It's like going to a buffet and eating more just because it's worth it. You didn't win. You just participated, exactly the way they wanted you to. 12. The "I'll use it later" fantasy. This one is built on pure optimism. You buy something not for who you are, but for who you imagine you'll become. That fitness equipment? Future you is definitely waking up at 6 a.m. That expensive notebook? Future you is organized, focused, maybe even journaling like a philosopher. Reality? That thing is sitting in a corner collecting dust and silent disappointment. Because current you is still current you. And that's the problem. You're making financial decisions based on a version of yourself that hasn't shown up yet. It's like investing in a startup that only exists in your imagination. And sure, sometimes it works. Sometimes you actually use it. But most of the time, you paid for motivation and got a reminder of what you didn't do. That's not just wasted money. That's emotional damage, sponsored by your own expectations. 13. Hidden fees that appear like jump scares. You ever notice how the price you see is never the price you pay? You book something for $50. Feels reasonable, clean, simple. Then comes the plot twist: service fee, processing fee, convenience fee, cleaning fee. We felt like it fee. Suddenly that $50 becomes $78, and you're just sitting there wondering when this turned into a financial horror movie. And the worst part? You're already invested. You've entered your details. You've spent time. You're mentally committed. So when the final price appears, you don't cancel. You accept it. Because backing out feels like effort. And companies know that. They don't hide the fees completely. They just delay them. Long enough for you to stop caring. It's not transparent. It's strategic. And you're not paying more because you agreed. You're paying more because you got tired of fighting it. 14. The "everyone has it" pressure. You know this one. A new phone drops, a new trend starts. Suddenly, everyone around you has something, and you don't. And that shouldn't matter, but it does. Because humans are wired to compare, quietly, constantly. You see someone with something new and your brain doesn't say, good for them. It says, should I have that too? And just like that, a want becomes a need. Not because of utility, not because of value, because of perception. You're not buying the thing, you're buying the feeling of not being left out. And companies build entire empires on that feeling. They don't sell products, they sell belonging. And the price of belonging? Apparently, it's whatever your credit card limit is. 15. The future me will handle it. Scam. This is the most dangerous one, because it feels harmless. I'll deal with it later. I'll pay it off next month. Future me has this under control. Future you must be an absolute legend at this point. Solving problems, paying off debts, fixing mistakes, all while current, you just relaxes and keeps making new ones. It's like outsourcing responsibility to a version of yourself that doesn't exist yet. And here's the twist. When later finally comes, you are that future version. And now you're stuck dealing with decisions you barely remember making. Subscriptions, payments, debt, random purchases, all waiting for you like unpaid bills at a reunion. The problem isn't time. The problem is denial, because later isn't a solution. It's just a delay, with interest. And the longer you rely on future you to fix everything, the more expensive your present becomes. 16. The I'll just put it on the card. Habit credit cards are one of the greatest inventions ever, and also one of the most polite financial traps in history, because they don't feel like money. You're not handing over cash. You're not watching your wallet get thinner. You just tap, swipe, move on, smooth, effortless, almost invisible. And that's exactly the problem. You stop associating spending with loss. It feels delayed, abstract, like it doesn't fully count yet. I'll deal with it later, you tell yourself, which, as we've already established, is code for future me is about to get ambushed. And when the bill finally arrives, it's never dramatic in one big shock. It's confusing, a pile of small decisions you barely remember making. Dinner here, subscription there, random purchase at 11:47 p.m., when you were definitely not thinking clearly. And now they've merged into one big number that somehow feels unfair, even though every single charge was your idea. Credit cards don't create bad spending. They remove the feeling of spending. And once that feeling is gone, your limits quietly disappear with it. 17. The bulk means smart illusion. Buying in bulk feels responsible, strategic, like you finally become one of those organized adults who plans ahead. You walk into a store and see the giant pack. More product, lower price per unit. Math says it's a win. But reality? Slightly different story. Because you didn't just buy more, you gave yourself permission to use more. That giant pack of snacks suddenly disappears twice as fast. That massive bottle of something, you stop being careful because, well, there's plenty. And sometimes the best part, you forget you even have it. So you buy more. Now you're not saving money. You're running a small warehouse of things you don't need in those quantities. Bulk only works if your behavior stays the same. But it doesn't. You don't consume like a spreadsheet. You consume like a human, impulsively, inconsistently, and occasionally like you're preparing for the apocalypse. So that smart bulk purchase, half of it expires, gets ignored, or disappears way faster than expected. And suddenly, your savings, quietly spoiled in the back of a cabinet. 18. The rewards points trap. Ah yes, rewards programs. The only system where spending more money somehow feels like winning. Earn points. Get cash back. Unlock exclusive rewards. Sounds great, almost like a game. And that's the trap. Because now you're not just spending, you're playing. You start thinking things like, well, I'm close to a reward, might as well spend a little more. Or, it's fine, I'll get points back. And just like that, your decision-making shifts. You're no longer asking, do I need this? You're asking, does this help me get something later? Which is exactly how you end up spending $200 to earn $5 worth of rewards. That's not a benefit. That's a loyalty program for your own bad decisions. And companies love it. Because they've turned spending into a progress bar. And humans? We hate leaving progress unfinished. So we keep going, chasing points, unlocking tiers, feeling smart, while quietly spending more than we ever planned, for rewards that never really matter. 19. The "it's already paid for" mentality. This one shows up after you've already made a decision. You bought something, maybe a subscription, maybe a pass, maybe a membership, and now your brain says, well, I paid for it, might as well use it. Sounds logical, right? Except now you're making new decisions based on past spending. You go to places you wouldn't normally go. You use services you don't even enjoy. You spend extra time, energy, sometimes even more money, just to justify something you already paid for. It's like forcing yourself to finish a terrible movie just because you bought the ticket. The money is already gone, but instead of moving on, you double down. And sometimes it gets worse. You renew things you don't use just because canceling feels like admitting you made a bad decision. So you keep paying, not for value, for consistency with your past self. And that's how one small decision turns into a long-term expense you didn't even want in the first place. 20. The tiny upgrades everywhere effect. Individually, upgrades are harmless. Better seat, faster delivery, premium version, slightly nicer option. Each one feels small, almost insignificant. But stack them together, and suddenly your entire life is running on just a little more expensive. You didn't notice when it started. Maybe you chose the slightly better hotel once, then again. Then it became your default. Same with flights, same with apps, same with everyday decisions. You're not making big financial mistakes. You're making slightly more expensive choices, consistently. And over time, that becomes your new normal. It's like turning the volume up by one notch every day. You don't notice it until it's suddenly way too loud. Your spending doesn't explode overnight. It drifts upward, quietly, smoothly, almost politely, until one day you look at your expenses and think, how did this get so high? It didn't jump. It climbed, one tiny upgrade at a time. 21. The "I'll start saving later" lie. This one sounds responsible, mature even. Right now I'll enjoy life. I'll start saving later. Later is doing a lot of heavy lifting here, because later always seems like a better, more organized version of now, a future where you're more disciplined, more focused, more financially stable. But later has one big problem. It never actually arrives. There's always something, another expense, another reason, another "just this month." So saving keeps getting postponed like a meeting nobody wants to attend. And the cost? It's not just the money you didn't save, it's the time you lost. Because money grows with time, quietly, consistently, but only if you actually give it that time, and every delay shrinks that advantage. So while you're waiting for the perfect moment to start, your future is quietly getting more expensive. Not because of one big mistake, but because you kept saying, I'll deal with it later. And later kept moving. 22. The default option trap. You ever notice how you rarely change the default settings? Streaming quality, leave it. Delivery speed, sure. Insurance add-ons, why not? Whatever the system suggests, you just go with it. Because thinking takes effort. And companies know that most people don't want to think about every little decision. So they design defaults that quietly cost more. Not aggressively, not obviously, just slightly higher than necessary. That pre-selected option? It's usually not the cheapest one. It's the most profitable one, and most people never question it. You click continue, like you're skipping ads, not realizing you just agreed to spend more money every single time. It's subtle. That's why it works. You're not choosing the expensive option. You're just not resisting it. And over time, those default decisions stack up into a lifestyle that's slightly more expensive than it needs to be. Not because you wanted it that way, but because you never stopped to ask, wait, do I actually need this version? 23. The "it's a good investment" excuse. This one sounds smart, responsible, almost sophisticated. It's not spending, it's an investment. Now, sometimes that's true, but let's be honest, most of the time it's just a very well-dressed excuse. You buy something expensive and justify it by saying it'll pay off. Maybe it saves time. Maybe it improves your life. Maybe it just feels like something successful people would own. And suddenly, A regular purchase gets upgraded into a strategic decision. But here's the reality. Not everything that costs more returns more. That fancy gadget, still sitting unused. That course you bought, half finished. That investment piece, worn twice. You didn't invest. You upgraded your expectations and hoped the value would catch up later. And that's the danger. When you label spending as investing, you lower your guard. You stop questioning because it feels smart. But sometimes the smartest move is admitting that not everything needs to be justified, especially when your wallet is the one doing all the investing, with no returns. 24. The rounding doesn't matter. Habit you ever round prices in your head? That's basically $20. It's like $50. Close enough. Except it's not, because your brain always rounds down. That $19.99 becomes $20. That $27 becomes around $25. That $43 becomes about $40. And every time you do that, you're quietly underestimating how much you're actually spending. Individually, it feels harmless. But over time, you're creating a completely inaccurate picture of your finances. It's like tracking your calories, but ignoring half the snacks because they were small. The numbers still count, even if your brain pretends they don't. And the worst part? You start making decisions based on those rounded down numbers, so you think you're spending less than you are, and act accordingly, which leads to spending more, all because your brain prefers clean numbers over accurate ones. Money doesn't round, but your perception does. And that gap? That's where your budget quietly disappears. 25. The backup option. Spending this one feels practical. You buy something and then you buy a backup. Just in case. Extra charger, extra cable, extra whatever. Because what if something happens? What if you need it later? What if future you is unprepared? So now you're not just buying for your current needs. You're buying for imaginary scenarios. And sure, sometimes backups make sense. But most of the time, they just sit there, unused, forgotten, quietly aging like a collection of good intentions. And eventually, you forget you even have them. So when you actually need one, you buy another. Now you've paid twice for the same thing, and still feel unprepared. It's not planning, it's anxiety spending. You're trying to solve uncertainty with purchases. But uncertainty doesn't go away, it just gets more expensive. 26. The small leak, big sink effect. Nobody worries about small leaks. It's just a drip. Nothing serious. Until one day, the whole thing collapses. Your finances work the same way. It's not one big expense that drains you. It's the constant, tiny, unnoticed outflow. Subscriptions, fees, impulse buys, upgrades, convenience costs, all happening quietly in the background like background noise you stopped hearing. Individually, irrelevant. Together, devastating. Because they don't trigger urgency. They don't feel like a problem. They just slowly reduce what you have left. And the danger is, you adapt. You get used to having less. You adjust your expectations. You normalize it. Until one day you realize there's nothing left to adjust. And the crazy part? If you removed half those small leaks, your financial situation would change overnight. Not dramatically, but noticeably. Because the biggest damage isn't loud. It's quiet and consistent. 27. The you'll make more money anyway. Illusion. Final fact. This is the grand finale. The ultimate comfort lie. I'll make more money later. And maybe you will. But that belief becomes dangerous when it turns into permission. Permission to overspend, to ignore habits, to delay discipline. Because future income starts to feel like a safety net for present mistakes. And suddenly, you're not managing money. You're counting on future you to earn enough to cover everything. Which sounds fine, until life doesn't cooperate. Because income can change, opportunities can shift. But your habits? Those stick around. And if your habits are built on the assumption that more money will fix everything, then more money won't fix anything. It'll just scale the problem. You won't feel richer. You'll just make bigger versions of the same mistakes. Because money doesn't solve behavior, it amplifies it. And if you don't control the small leaks now, even a bigger income won't save you. It'll just disappear faster. Which trap is draining you daily? Be honest, your wallet already knows.